Welcome everybody, this is another edition of the 9 o'clock Meltdown podcast on location. I am upstairs of Wussow's Concert Coffee House here in West End, Duluth, and I have the wonderful and talented Erica Adams making a second debut on my show. I interviewed you before about your chapter book that you put out.
Yes.
Kind of a little bit of a bounce of Alice in Wonderland a little bit.
Yeah, Allie's Adventure on the Wonder.
Yes.
Sort of a semi-autobiography of sorts.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that was a wonderful book. It was kind of more aimed at preteen a little bit, if I'm remembering.
Yeah, like young adult.
Mm-hmm.
Something
Young
like
adult.
that.
Well,
yeah.
now you're back again, and I've launched myself into podcast world.
Yes, congratulations.
Well, thank you. And actually, congratulations on your new picture book here, New Moon's Family by Erica Adams.
Thank you.
When did this come about?
Well, officially the publication date was October 1st, so just a little over a month ago as of right now. Yeah, I actually wrote it quite a few years ago, like maybe 2006 or so.
Oh, wow. So you've been sitting on it a while then.
Yeah. Believe it or not, it was actually during a lunch break between classes in college. Yeah.
Nice.
First draft didn't take me too long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of percolating in my mind as I was driving to school, and then I wrote it down a couple of hours later on the day.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Did the idea just kind of come to you? I mean, what was the process behind it?
Yeah, I mean, the inspiration, I was kind of inspired by my younger brother, Noah, who lives with my father and stepmom in Illinois. He was around 5 years old when I first wrote this. He's 18 now. He'll be 19 in March.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
See, now it's something you get to tease him with later on, when he gets a girlfriend. Be like,
Oh,
here's
dear.
the picture book I wrote about you.
No, I'm not going to tease him. No,
Right.
he already has a copy. So at this point, yeah, I'm not going to tease him though.
All right.
Nah.
I digress.
No, it's all right. So the main story, give you some context. In the story, the character of New Moon is lonely up in the sky because you know how in real life we can't see the new moon because it's almost like it's disappeared. It's invisible up in the sky. So in this way, she's she's all alone up in the sky, and she's envious of the sun, who is very visible in the sky, and has all the people of Earth to shine down upon and everything.
Yeah.
So when she calls out to the sun, he has to remind her that she does have family. And I don't want to say too much from there. I don't want to spoil it. The idea behind it is that no matter how far your loved ones are, whether they're like physically far away or if they've even passed on, you're still together in spirit. They're still with you in spirit. So you don't have to physically be together in order to be together, I guess you could say.
Right. Erica, that's a beautiful concept. And the book itself, you brought a copy here today. I wish everybody could see this. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Now, who is the illustrator? Eric Soderstrom?
Eric Soderstrom, yes. I met him with the help of a mutual friend, Shelley Getton. I was attending a writers' meeting at the Two Harbors Library, and she... and she's also, as well as a writer, she's a local artist. I was sharing another story at the time, The Fledgling's Guardian, which is about dragons, and I was expressing my desire to eventually find someone who could illustrate a front cover for me.
Okay.
And so Shelley brought me to the local art gallery and showed me some of Eric's artwork. He does artwork to sell there. And he does a really beautiful fantasy art, a lot of dragon art. I met him from there, and then, we hit it off right away. Even though this is not a dragon story, he still did a wonderful job.
Yeah, the front cover itself is absolutely gorgeous here. You've got the different cycles of the moon, and they've actually got beautiful faces in them.
Thank
too,
you. Yeah.
Along with the sun as well, and it's got kind of a starry background here to it. What's Were there a lot of meetings between you and Eric to really kind of flush out what you were seeing visually versus what he was
Kind of. There was a lot of emailing more than anything. Yeah, we had a lot of emailing, a lot of texting. Because I live in Duluth and he lives in Silver Bay, so we couldn't really see each other physically too much. There's a big distance. So, but yeah, we kept in touch constantly. Yeah, the illustrations took a little while, but yeah, the end product turned out phenomenal. I'm very happy with what he did.
Yes, wonderful.
Yeah, it was kind of like I kind of gave him a bare bones idea of what I wanted because. I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself because I didn't know what this was going to look like, and I wanted to be able to make changes if possible. I wanted this to be very flexible for both of us.
Right.
So I said, like put the sun here, put the moon there, kind of like that. But then otherwise, surprise me, do anything else you like.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, I don't want to do any spoilers here, but he, put just nice little details in the background that I never would have expected, and he very much exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, and there's a beautiful picture. I just flipped to a page here with the Aurora Borealis in it, the green and blues and things. What kind of medium did he use? I mean, this almost looks like computer.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he does or at least a lot of his art on the computer. I mean, he also does like charcoal and chalking and such, but for this he used the computer. I don't know exactly what program he used. As a matter of fact, he at the time that I hired him and we started working together, I think he had just gotten a new art program.
Oh, wonderful.
So he was just teaching himself how to use it. It was the new one that he got, and he. And this was a good chance for him to do some experimenting with it.
Oh, perfect.
By doing this.
We actually have very fitting music going on in the background. There's an office actually right next to us.
Oh,
here,
really?
And they've got piano music playing. So
oh my gosh.
very fitting background music here for
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Yes.
It's actually just started right before you came upstairs.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
I thought, all right, this is going to work out.
Yes.
But
Good
also,
omen.
Right. And like you said, going with the flow as well. Here.
Yes.
So
wonderful.
You sat on this story for quite a while, actually. I guess what kind of made it flush itself out now? I mean, what made you think that now is the time to release it?
Okay. Well, a couple of things happened before I even thought about this. I'll try to keep it brief. What happened was, to begin with, the Zenith bookstore, just almost right next door to us, like 2 doors down. They had been, for those who don't know, it's a recent used bookstore that just opened in West Duluth, or just opened at the time. They had been open for a few months, but I think about 3 months later or so, they finally got their grand opening party started.
Oh,
so I attended that. And there were lots of vendors, lots of authors there, presenting their stuff, and there was a representative of Beavers Pond Press, my publisher. I spoke with her. I think her name was Mackenzie, the lady who was there. She gave me their information, and I actually put in a few manuscripts right on their website. You can give your information and then upload your stuff right then and there. And I got a call just a few days later, and then we got started from there. After that initial conversation, we, just for a variety of reasons, we decided to go with New Moon's family. I was thinking more about Fledgling's Guardian at the time. I'll probably do some more polishing on that one later. But for now, this one, was more complete, I guess you could say. And then we just decided to go on from there. Hannah, my project manager, she was such a sweetheart. I am so grateful for all her patience, because Eric wasn't finished with the illustrations at the time. That took almost an extra year just to do, or at least half a year. I think the whole process from beginning to end took like a year and 8 months or so. So a good chunk of time. But yes, thankfully, Hannah just totally went on our own time, because she knows, authors, artists, whoever, we have our own lives outside our work.
Right.
So yes, that was a major godsend. Otherwise I may not have gotten this off the ground, because not everything was ready at the time.
And now, Erica, I ran into one of our mutual friends from Writers Group. For those who aren't familiar with it, the Lake Superior Writers Group.
Yes.
And she actually said that you actually kind of more or less self-published this book. You kind of had to come up with a capital for it, and then kind of go from there. So.
Okay. As far as the term self-publish, I'm not sure that's correct, but not to split hairs. But I mean, this was done by a professional publisher. But it is true that I paid for this with my own money. You know, that part is true. I mean, Allie's Adventure, I consider that self-published because I did that through a website. You know, I paid for it. I distributed it all myself. You know, when I got the prints or the printed copies. This was done, you know, professionally. So I'm not sure if this is technically self-published or not. But anyway, like I said, it is true that I paid for all of this myself.
Yeah. Was that a difficult process to kind of line those people up, to line Eric and Hannah and Beavers Press up to kind of get your dream launched off the ground?
Not too much, really. Not compared to everything I had done in the past. I mean, with the self-publishing, you know, I mean, that was easy in the sense that, you know, it went by fairly quickly. But that was a lot harder in terms of, like, getting the work out. You know, with Allie's Adventure, I mean, the reason why I self-published that in the first place was because for the life of me, I could not find a publisher willing to look at it. And I don't mean to be negative about this, but in all honesty, just in my personal experience, it is near impossible to find a publisher for your work in Duluth unless your work is about Duluth itself, like the North Shore and stuff like that, because Duluth is a very touristy town. It's a lovely, lovely town, don't get me wrong, but it is very focused on anything that it produces. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and Duluth is not what I write about. But yeah, it is very focused on, you know, North Shore Duluth and Lake Superior and, you know, Duluth history and, you know, like even, you know, I've seen, you know, books about like, you know, ghost stories, you know, that happen in Duluth. But yeah,
anything tourist stuff.
Yeah, exactly, tourist stuff. So I mean that's how Allie's Adventure got done the way it did in the first place. But Beaver's Pond was a dream come true in that respect because, you know, they're willing to, you know, go beyond that. I think they focus primarily on children's books, but I think they do adult works as well, you know, for older readers. But thankfully, as far as content is concerned, they're willing to look at pretty much everything. And I was so, so, so thankful for that. Otherwise, you know, yeah, the rest just, in retrospect, you know, compared to everything that happened before, this was a piece of cake. I can honestly say. I mean, it took a long time, but even so, I mean, everything went really smoothly despite the time.
Okay, excellent. How long did it take to get this book launched?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, between the illustrations and just, you know, and figuring out the design and everything, you know, about a year.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole process took almost 2 years, but I guess between the illustrations and the, you know, getting the design, knowing like what parts were going to go where, not just the pictures proper, but like the publication info and the title page and artist bio and all that stuff, you know, that took a little bit of time. And just making sure everything went where it needed to go and just deciding on the glossy pages or like the type of pages, the type of cover, you know, just the bells and whistles, I guess you could say, you know, making it look pretty.
Right.
So,
now,
yeah.
Erica, your work is available on Amazon. I found you under there. You're in their authors section, and both your books now are up on Amazon as well. Where else are your books?
As of right now, you can find it on, Amazon, Target.com, Itasca.com. Itasca Warehouse is where the book resides. And also, I did get it into Barnes & Noble. You can find it on their website, and as of right now, you can find physical copies at the Barnes & Noble in the Miller Hill Mall up in Duluth. For anyone outside of Minnesota listening, if you want to get copies into your own Barnes & Noble, go to your local store and make a request. They should be able to find it from there. It's in their system now. But I can only go so far physically, unfortunately. And I also have as of right now, I also have copies in Zenith Bookstore as well. Excellent. And then the toy store, Toys for Keeps, down in Canal Park. Mm-hmm. Still waiting on some other places, but I'm still working on it.
All right, good. Mm-hmm. Was it kind of hard for you to get this distribution, or did Beaver's Press kind of take care of that for you?
They took care of a lot of the online ones. Okay. Like the big ones. There are lots of other, distribution websites that do have this listed in there, more than I can name or count.
Right,
But yeah, if you Google it, you should be able to find it in there. I think I found it on eBay as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you're everywhere then.
The sure. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, physical copies are going to be a little trickier until, if and when this actually gets around.
Right, right.
Word of mouth and social media. I'm trying.
Yes, yes, and I do follow you on social media.
Thank you.
That's where I saw that your book was available at Barnes & Noble and things like that. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Even if it's a local Barnes & Noble, still congratulations. So
yes,
wonderful.
Yes. My parents were very happy to see that. They're like, that's the big one. I mean, the local places are great, but places like Barnes & Noble, that's really going to catch some eyes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. So did you have to bring your book to Barnes & Noble and say, hey, put this on your shelf? Or, did someone else kind of take care of that?
Yes and no. What happened was, it helped that I do know some of the people who work there. That was a big help. But yeah, I mean, unlike Allie's Adventure, where I had no, backing of any kind, this one they agreed to fairly, easily because this was already in their system. It's like I said, it's in Itasca, so that's a place where they can easily order books. So they were very willing to get these ordered and put them in there.
Perfect. And now, Erica, just a little bit more about you. I think the first time we had talked about Allie's Adventure and things like that, which has been a couple of years now, you were actually starting a radio show up at the Two Harbors Community Radio.
Yes.
And you've been doing that kind of off and on throughout the years.
Yes.
And now we were talking a little earlier, and you took a little bit of a step back.
I did, yes.
From the radio station. Any reason why? Is the book going so well? You just need to focus on that?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, the book was a big part of it. Yeah, we were just getting to the end of the process, and unfortunately, part of it was also because I was kind of getting burned out, to be honest. I mean, it takes a lot of research, make my episodes and to make them good, and when you really think about it, 4 weeks is not a long time, like a single month. And not to mention, I got to get the preview up a week prior, and then, just a lot of other stuff. So I really didn't want to get burned out on the show because I really do enjoy it. But I didn't want to do it so much that I would get so sick of it. So between the book and just, for my own personal health, I guess, among other things, I'm only doing that once every 2 months now.
And especially now that winter's coming as well, I mean, making the trek from Duluth to Two Harbors can be cautionary sometimes.
Right, absolutely. I do actually record at home, so I don't have to. So that isn't quite so hard. But what you say is true. I mean, that is a trek up there. I mean, in the winter, I still worry, getting up there just for my Two Harbors radio or writing meetings, I mean. I haven't been going to a lot of meetings there lately. Whenever they do have one, yeah, distance is a big factor.
True.
Right, but at least now, I can take a sort of a breather from it. I can have more time to do research, and then I can focus on my other writing. I'm doing research for a new novel that I'm writing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Can you go into that at all, or do you want to keep it hush-hush?
A little bit. I can go into some little details. My working title is Mother, Father, Lover, Child. It's my first adult piece. I kind of want to challenge myself a little. I've been writing, a lot of stuff for younger readers.
Okay.
Generally speaking, when I write something, I want to, if I get an idea that I'm passionate about, I'm going to write it. I don't care if it's, for kids, for adults, or whatever. If it moves me, I'll write it. I'm not too picky about, the target audience. But I mean, I'll make it for the target audience if I have the idea solid in my head.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I kind of wanted to do an adult piece, because it would be my first, and I wanted to see, whether I could really do it.
Okay.
So something, more mature, a little bit more graphic.
Okay.
And also at the same time, it was around this time, my friend Aaron DeBiso, a very good friend of mine, we had just met up again after a few years. He and I we were both students at LSC for a time. We met up again after a few years, and he got me started into the Star Trek franchise. So
you're a Trekkie now, huh?
yes, I am officially a Trekkie. Yes, Star Trek all the way. Yeah, so from there I just binged on the entire original series on Netflix. I would watch I had a goal, watch 2 episodes a day for however many weeks it took it was a couple summers ago, I guess, maybe 2 summers ago. And also from there, I was developing a love of science fiction. I actually wasn't into, pure science fiction for a long time because I guess with fantasy, compared to fantasy, science fiction just seemed so restrictive, I guess you could say, and I was especially worried about the technobabble,
Make it up.
yeah, but I mean, with all the science talk and whatnot, I was afraid that would just ruin the story for me because I would have no idea what was going on.
Oh, okay.
Because it would be, just all techie stuff, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean, so Star Trek really proved me wrong there because it's you can still have some, technobabble, real or fake or whatever, but you can still have a good story, with good characters, good plot development and everything. So yeah, I got into that, and then from there I kind of started looking at some other stuff. I was thinking, why don't I, put in some old science fiction in my story? My main character is a young woman who is a cinephile or movie buff.
Okay.
So she loves movies, and I'm like, why don't I make it so that she loves old science fiction?
Oh, there you go.
And another thing was, just out of curiosity, I looked up online, arguments for, why people like older movies rather than, today's movies,
Okay.
Like the 60s and farther back.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia. And, what is it about them, besides nostalgia that, makes us want to go back to them?
Right.
Depending on who you ask, a lot of people will say, today's movies really suck. It's all about, the franchises, it's they're constantly, they're just trying to make it so that they're constant sequels. They're just making the money, and I guess,
A plethora of fight scenes and not enough
and
dialogue.
all explosions and whatnot. But yeah, I don't want to go on a rant. But my point is, I'm thinking, what? Maybe I could make something out of that, and make that part of my character.
Yeah.
About the personality of my character. What makes her want to go back to these movies as opposed to the new stuff?
Right.
What is it about the era of Casablanca and Star Trek and the Wizard of Oz? Does she like, as opposed to, and this is kind of extreme, but it's nowadays it's stuff like Sex and the City, or those cheesy Hallmark movies,
Even Sex and the City is old if you're really talking about
Okay, but yeah, earlier 20th century old, as opposed to late 20th or
Right,
90s and farther old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know, bad example, but I guess
it's fine.
yeah.
Well, excellent.
So, yeah.
I'm excited to kind of see where that one takes you. And now, just so people know, we met through the Lake Superior Writers group here in town.
Yes.
Are you still a part of that? I know I kind of took a step back from them, quite a while ago. I write more kind of beat poetry than anything else. So, but are you still actively a part of that group?
Absolutely. Yeah, that for anyone who's interested, if you want to just check it out, whether you write or not, we meet every third Wednesday of each month at the Perkins near the Miller Hill Mall, from 6 to 8 p.m.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
Excellent. And now, actually, the last time that we were at that writers' meeting, I heard a bit of your dragon story and stuff like that. It's really riveting. You paint an absolute beautiful picture. I can see the characters right in front of me. There.
Thank you.
It's absolutely lovely. And now let's talk a little bit about your writing process. I know we dove into it quite a bit when you were on previously, but these characters that you come up with, are they extensions of your different ego states? Are they based off of people that you've met?
It's hard to say. Kind of. Some of them, I guess, shoot, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say, I suppose one way to answer that is that at the very beginning of me writing a story, I guess the characters themselves kind of come after the idea itself.
Okay.
Let me rephrase that. Like the Fledgling's Guardian, for example. Idea of that, like literally, I woke up in the morning one day and thought, I want to write a transformation scene.
Okay.
Like a human transforming into a creature of some kind.
Kind of like a werewolf.
Yeah. Or in this case, a dragon. Little spoiler there. Yeah. I wanted to write a sequence where a human turns into a dragon. So I wrote that all down, just that one sequence, and then the story, the actual plot and characters evolved from there.
Oh, okay.
So I guess you could say that, I kind of think of, like the ideas and the themes first before I actually think of the characters and the plot itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
How long does it actually take you to kind of flush out a story? I mean, I realize it's ongoing. I mean, the Fledgling's Guardian has been ongoing for quite some time.
Right.
And you said you wrote New Moon back when you were in college and more kind of the mid-2000s, and now it's just come to publication. But I guess how long do you actually sit on a story before you feel that it's finished?
That's a good question. It may depend on how complex the story is. Okay. Like Fledgling's Guardian, I think I wrote that in about a year or so, because that's technically finished. I haven't visited it in a while, though. I'm sure it has a lot of polish. It needs a lot of polishing. I'll probably visit that again before long. Allie's Adventure on the Wonder, that was finished quickly out of necessity. That began as a school project, and so I wrote that in literally 2 months. So, or at least the first draft of it. I added some other stuff later. Someday I actually want to go back to it and actually flesh that out into a full novel. Because in retrospect, I think, looking back on it, I feel that it was very rushed, when I put that in print. But I don't regret that because, it gave me experience in the whole publishing scene. And, the fact that I did that, Hannah really liked that. That helped me get my foot in the door when I was first talking to Hannah about New Moon's Family. Because I already had publishing experience, so I wasn't going in totally blind.
Yeah.
So that did work out for the best, even though that particular book didn't go very far. So still, no regrets there.
Yeah, good, excellent. And now you have New Moon's Family under your belt, more of a children's book than anything else.
Right.
But like I said, it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
People can pick it up at the Zenith Bookstore, which is right next to us. We're at Wussow's Concert Coffee Shop here in West Duluth. They can find it at Barnes & Noble on barnesandnoble.com and on Amazon.com as well. And Erica, if somebody's interested in what you've got coming up, if you're going to be doing any speaking or any readings, how can they do that?
I have a Facebook page, Erica Adams, and you can go to my website, elatales, that's elatales.com. Otherwise, you can email me at elatales@gmail.com. If you have any questions, I keep up with my email fairly frequently, as much as I can.
Wonderful. Excellent. And to kind of close out, would you mind reading a few passages from your new book?
Okay, I can read the first few pages.
Okay, excellent. Erica Adams here on the 9 o'clock Meltdown. We're upstairs at Wussow's Concert Coffee Shop. Some beautiful piano music is playing in the background. Everything just kind of came together here. Erica is going to read from her brand new book, New Moon's Family. Take it away.
Thank you. Since the world was young, since the beginning of time, the sun has always loved to shine. The people's joy and mirth arose with his beam, his glow, his warmth, his very presence serene. But then a sigh came from the realm called night, where new moon cried as she envied sun's light. Asleep or awake, from earth not a soul could comfort or mend her heart's great hole. For she was hidden in the dark, away from earth's view, not a trace of her seen beyond the midnight blue. On this night, new moon could bear her pain no more, and called out to sun to lament and implore. "O sun," she cried, "please tell me the reason why every time, every moment, every day, every season, the people of the world rejoice in your glory, while my dark, empty nights tell this sad, lonesome story." Sun faced new moon, his gaze kind and soft, and then he replied as he floated aloft. "New moon, my child, so lost in this dark, even your hope has lost all its spark. Have you truly forgotten your loved ones so dear? Remember, new moon, they've always been near." And I think I'm going to stop there because I don't want to get too far.
No,
I don't want to spoil the ending.
Erica, that's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful. And like I said, it's available at the Zenith Bookstore, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon.com. Erica, thank you so much for coming and sharing your afternoon with us.
Yes, you're very welcome. Thank you.